Hello and welcome. It is 1:30. It is the 21st day of May 2021. I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, and Patrick Barnes over on my vlog requested more stories from what's going on my D&D table. Of course, there's nothing going on my D&D table right now, so we can revisit stories from D&D past. And once again, I'm going to revisit probably my single most successful and longest campaign ever, my Freeport campaign. Now, if you're not familiar with the Freeport trilogy and all the other Freeport stuff, it is a product line from Green Ronin Games. It's had its home in D&D and Pathfinder and D&D and System Neutrals and Savage Worlds. It's a very interesting setting. The best way to describe the Freeport setting is the Pirates of the Caribbean movies meets Call of Cthulhu. So it's pirates, it's D&D, it's all that over-the-top pirate stuff. It's an island, it's a city built by pirates, but then there's also Lovecraftian horrors and all sorts of weirdness. Um, so during the running of the first part of the many parts of my Freeport campaign, the initial three modules, uh, the situation was there was a big gala to certify a trade deal between the Freeport and the mainland, because Freeport's an island, and it's you know neutral, but it's a pirate heaven. People are upset about the pirates. It's geographically located that everybody wants it, or at least wants to have, docks there on the mainland, because from Freeport you could sail off to other places. You know how this works. So there was a place trying to make a trade deal, and as part of the trade deal, they were bringing over a heirloom of that country to Freeport to put on display. It was a big gem called the Heart of the Sun or something, or the Heart of Light. I don't remember. It was a long time ago, but I know it was a gem and it had something to do with light. So let's just say it was called the Heart of Light. Now, when the boat arrives, there's some shenanigans. Some people try to steal the gem. The box is lost for a few seconds. Then the player characters recover the box, turn it over to the authorities, move along with their day. Well, word gets out that they're not sure it's the real gem. That maybe when it was lost, the people who stole it switched it. It looks like the gem, but since nobody in Freeport has ever seen the gem, and the experts, people who came with the gem, were killed in the attack, they don't know, and they don't want to. There's this big, contingency coming from the mainland. They want to sort of, cover up the whole murder, kidnapping, stealing thing. So they hire a expert to certify whether this is the actual gem or not. So here's where we get to the actual adventure. The bad guys kidnap the expert because they want the expert to certify that the gem is the actual gem. They did not, in fact, steal the gem. The gem that is in the city's possession is the actual gem. But the bad guys have reason to believe that that gem is actually a fake. So they want to kidnap the guy who knows and then have him confirm whether the gem is real or not for them. So they kidnap the guy. His name is Lucian. And they take him to their headquarters, and the player characters follow him, and the headquarters is sort of this armored, teeny little keep kind of thing. And one of the player characters has a scroll of summon elemental. So he gets this brilliant idea, hey, let's avoid any, potential danger and just use my scroll and have the elemental go in there and do the work for us. And everybody else is like, okay. So they summon the elemental, and, they go in and they send the elemental in. They say to the elemental, kill everybody but the gnome. So the air elemental goes in, I roll some dice, I tell them they hear noises and screamings and explosions, some glass breaks, and then everything goes quiet. They go down the stairs into the little teeny armored building, And they see, of course, blood and guts and dead things, and the air elemental's like, I have done my task. I am free. And it disappears. And there's this one blood-covered gnome sitting in the corner, shaking, looking all confused. And one of the players, grabs him up and says, come on, gnome, we're getting out of here before reinforcements show up. And they take him to the authorities who had asked them to go get the gnome. And they say, we rescued Lucian. And the guys look at them, and they look at the blood-covered gnome, and they're like, what do you mean? And they point at the gnome, and they say, well, we killed everybody else, but we rescued Lucian. And the authority says, dead face, as I'm trying so hard not to laugh, I never said Lucian was a gnome. I never said Lucian was a gnome. So, think about it for a sec. In their zeal to rescue Lucian from the kidnappers and sending the air elemental in to kill everybody but the gnome, the air elemental killed everybody but the gnome. Lucian was not a gnome. So the air elemental killed the one guy who could confirm whether the gem was actually the gem or not. And meanwhile, the contingency from the mainland was about to arrive. So not only did they have to explain that, the guys who brought the gem were murdered, they also had to explain that the expert that was hired by the city to confirm whether the gem was real or not was also killed. Further hijinks ensued, of course, but that is just another tale from the fabulous Freeport campaign that I ran for almost 5 years at Seth's Games and Anime, the short, tragic death of Lucian, who was not a gnome. If you appreciate this content and want to hear more stuff like this, let me know. If you don't appreciate this content and never want to hear a story about my previous adventures ever again, let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 400 subs, or, 500 subs by August 4th, but we're really close to that 400 thing. And until then, I will talk to you later. Get off my Freeport. I never said Lucian was a gnome.